This video reviews some sample test questions on faults. The questions come from the WebCT page. You go to our course homepage. In the Deformation and Mountain Building folder, there's a link to sample test on geologic structures, and now we're looking at question 3 from the sample test. It says, refer to the cross-section below. What type of fault is depicted? Okay, it's a cross-section. So the top of the cross-section is the land surface. In the subsurface we have different rock layers that are shown in different symbols. And there's a fault here, right? Fault that's offset the rock layers on either side of the fault. So it wants to know, is it a right lateral strike slip fault, a left lateral strike slip fault, a normal fault, or a reverse fault? Look, because it's giving you a cross-section, we can eliminate right lateral or left lateral strike slip faults because you need a map to figure out what kind of strike slip fault there is in the subsurface. If they give you a cross-section, it's got to be some type of dip slip fault. So normal or reverse fault is what we have to figure out, whether it's normal or reverse. The procedure for doing that is first figure out which side of the fault is the hanging wall and which side is the foot wall. Okay, is the left-hand side the hanging wall or is it the foot wall? And then the right-hand side is going to be the other one. And the way it works is the hanging wall is the block of rock that's on top of the fault, the foot wall is the block of rock that's underneath the fault. There's the fault. This side over here on the left is under the fault, so it's the foot wall. That makes the other side, the right-hand side, the hanging wall. Okay, we have to figure out which side is the hanging wall because the rule is for a normal fault, the hanging wall shifts down or has a downward displacement. But for a reverse fault, the hanging wall shifted up relative to the foot wall. And what do we have here? The hanging wall, the layers on the hanging wall side, they're up relative to the foot wall side. Hanging wall up means it's a reverse fault. So we're going to choose D for the answer there, reverse fault. There's one other question in here about faults. Question 4. It says refer to the map below. Uh-oh, map. Okay, map means it's going to be some kind of a strike slip fault. You're not even going to think about the normal fault or the reverse fault. We need a cross-section for those. Alright, so let's see what else it says. Offset of the streams shows that there's a fault in the subsurface. What type of fault is it? So is it a right lateral strike slip fault or is it a left lateral strike slip fault? Okay, so here's a stream. It's got some tributaries and it's been offset like this. And then there's a second stream with a couple of tributaries, and this stream also makes that weird shift in its course due to movement along a fault. So the fault is not shown on the map. You have to figure out where it is, and it's located along here, along those straight segments of the stream between those weird right angle bends. So you look for that straight segment between the right angle bends, that's where the fault is. And then the procedure for figuring out if it's a right lateral or a left lateral strike slip fault is you have to imagine yourself standing on one side of the fault and then looking across the fault. So let's imagine that we're standing here at this point along the stream. We have to imagine ourselves looking across the fault. Fault's running through here, remember? So we got to look across the fault. You can look across the fault and say, hey, where's the stream? It's not directly across the fault. Do I have to turn my head to my left or to my right to see the stream? And if you can picture yourself standing here, looking across the fault, you see you have to turn your head to the left. With the stream offset to the left on the other side of the fault, that makes that a left lateral strike slip fault. Left lateral strike slip fault. We're going to pick answer B for that one.